Hello everyone, I'm Angela.
Hello, this is Richie, and this is the Fan of Football 813 YouTube channel and Facebook group and all that. And today we're going to be picking the college football games for week 6. Before we go on to that, I just want to let you all know that this week I'm going to do a preview for the Thursday games and the Friday games and have them separate. But then starting week 7, next week, we're going to do those together for the weekday games. So the weekday games, we'll pick them together and preview them at the same time. That way to have some shorter videos and separate videos so you all can look out for more information. But for now, we're just going to pick the week 6 college football games, and we're going to start with the Thursday games. The first game is the Georgia State Panthers and the Troy Trojans. Troy, they had a nice win against Coastal Carolina last week. They're one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. Georgia State actually had a big win, a large win by margin of victory. They won 46-14 against Louisiana Monroe last week. They performed a lot better than I thought they would. They could give Troy a bit of a game, but I'm going to go with Troy to win that one.
I'm going to go with Troy as well.
The next Thursday game is Tulsa Golden Hurricane and Houston Cougars. I think this should be Houston's pretty easily. Tulsa could keep it close. They have a decent enough offense to kind of give Houston a scare. But Houston, their quarterback, Derek King, is too much, so I think Houston wins.
Houston. I'll go for Houston.
The Friday games, there's 3 of them. The first one is the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville should have beaten Florida State last week. Georgia Tech, their triple option game, they had a really nice win against Bowling Green last week. This could be kind of even because Louisville actually looked better. They performed better than they had been, but I'm going to go with Georgia Tech to win.
I'll go with Georgia Tech.
Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders and the Marshall Thunderbirds. This actually should be a pretty good CUSA game. Marshall won last week. Middle Tennessee came from behind to beat Florida Atlantic, which is a really big win for them. Both quarterbacks are good, both offenses are good, both teams are pretty even. That being said, I'm going to give the edge to Marshall, but I think it actually will be a pretty close game.
So it'll be close.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll go for Middle Tennessee.
Then the last game on Friday, Utah State Aggies and the BYU Cougars. This could be good. Utah State's one of the better teams in the Mountain West. They have a good offense, an up-tempo offense. BYU, they're one of the better defenses in the country. They're coming off a big loss to the Washington Huskies, but BYU's still a good team. I'm going to go actually with... this is hard. I'm going to go with BYU, though, to win.
I'll go with BYU.
Alright, going to the Saturday games. The LSU Tigers taking on the Florida Gators. The Tigers have looked really good so far. The Gators are coming off a good defensive effort. They won last week against Mississippi State. They won a low-scoring game, 13-6. As much as it hurts me to say this, I'm going to pick LSU to win because their offense is better. And Florida's defense has done really well. I just don't think their offense will be able to quite keep up with what LSU is doing. So this is a game I hope I'm wrong about, but I'm going to pick LSU to actually win.
You're going for LSU.
I think they'll win. I'm going to be rooting for the Gators, though. It's in Florida. It could be a big upset. It could be close, and it should be. These games normally are. But I think LSU actually will win.
I'm going for the Gators.
Alright, Washington Huskies taking on the UCLA Bruins. UCLA is 0-4. They kept it close against Colorado last Friday for a half, but then Colorado took over. Washington, Jake Browning, the quarterback's doing well. I think Washington wins.
I'll go for Washington.
Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas, they actually improved. They kept it close against Texas A&M, but Alabama's way too good.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama, I'll go for.
Alright, the Red River rivalry. Texas Longhorns against the Oklahoma Sooners. This could actually be a good game. Texas has improved. Their defense is playing well, but I think Oklahoma wins. Kyler Murray at quarterback was unstoppable last week. He had 6 touchdown passes. and 432 passing. I think Oklahoma wins.
I'll go for Texas.
All right, the Kansas Jayhawks and the West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia's coming off a nice win against Texas Tech. Kansas, performance-wise, they're decent this year, even though it's not really translating to wins so far. So maybe they can keep it close a little bit, but I think West Virginia should. Will Greer's on that Heisman run. So
West Virginia.
yeah.
I'll go for. So
I'm picking West Virginia.
with about.
I mean, they're not really. It'll be an upset if Kansas wins.
Okay, then I'm going for Kansas.
Maryland Terrapins and Michigan Wolverines. This could be interesting. Maryland's played pretty decently this year. Michigan, they had a dogfight against Northwestern last week, barely winning that. It would be an upset if Maryland wins, but it could go Maryland's way. That being, oh man, I kind of want to pick Maryland, but it's gonna be in Ann Arbor, so I'm gonna go with Michigan.
I'm going for Maryland for the upset.
Northwestern Wildcats and Michigan State Spartans. Northwestern nearly upset Michigan last week. Michigan State, they're kind of no nonsense sort of team. They aren't flashy. They run the ball. They play good defense. They don't necessarily blow teams out. So Northwestern could win this with an upset, but I'm gonna stick with Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Yeah.
I'll go for Northwestern.
Missouri Tigers and the South Carolina Gamecocks. This should be pretty even, though I'm going to go with Missouri.
I'll go for South Carolina.
All right, Illinois Fighting Illini and Rutgers Scarlet Knights. This game should be even, but Illinois is they've improved this year. I'm going to go with Illinois to win.
I'll go for Rutgers.
All right, Tulane Green Wave against Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati, they're one of the surprise teams this year. They're 5-0. Tulane's coming off a really big upset win against Memphis Tigers. Tulane, they've been in all their games pretty much this year. They should be able to keep this one close. But I think Cincinnati, they've been... you know what? Yeah, I think Cincinnati will win.
And I'll go for Tulane.
East Carolina Pirates and the Temple Owls. East Carolina, they had a win last week against Old Dominion. Their offense is pretty good. Temple, they play defense. They run the ball. Their defense has scored multiple defensive touchdowns this year. This is kind of a hard game to pick because they're kind of opposite. You know, one's an offensive team, one's a defensive team. I'm going to go with Temple, though.
I'll go for the Pirates.
Buffalo Bulls against the Central Michigan Chippewas. Buffalo finally lost a game last week. Army beat them pretty soundly. But Buffalo still is a pretty good team. Central Michigan's kind of struggling, so I'm going to go with Buffalo.
I'll go for Buffalo. Eastern
Michigan Eagles and Western Michigan Broncos. Eastern Michigan, they're kind of doing what they did last year. They every game they play in is this close, and they end up losing. They lost by 3 last weekend in triple overtime. They lost by 3 the week before. Last year, of their 7 losses, 3 were overtime games, and they lost 6 by a score or less. Western Michigan, they look pretty good this year. They came up with a nice last-second victory, so I think Western Michigan wins.
I'll go for Western Michigan.
Syracuse Orange and Pitt Panthers. Syracuse should have beaten Clemson. Pitt just got destroyed by UCF. This shouldn't be close. I think Syracuse wins.
Syracuse, I'm going for it.
Yeah. Boston College Eagles and North Carolina State. Wolfpack, this would be good. Boston College, one of the best running backs in the country. NC State, one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. That being said, I don't know who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with NC State to win.
Because this is going to be
yeah, this
close.
Should be a pretty even game. Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to go for Boston College.
Alright, Northern Illinois Huskies and Ball State Cardinals. Ball State's looked pretty good. Northern Illinois is normally one of the best teams in the MAC. but I'm going to go with Northern Illinois to win.
I will go for Ball State.
All right, Clemson Tigers and Wake Forest Demon Deacons. All right, Clemson, they're down to their third string quarterback. They came from behind. They'll beat Syracuse. Wake Forest has a really good offense. This could be the upset of the day. I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to go with Wake Forest. I think they win.
I'm going to go for Wake Forest, but who would be the upset?
If Wake Forest wins, that'll be a big upset.
Yeah, definitely go for Wake Forest.
All right. So, one of the biggest rivalries in the country. Florida State Seminoles taking on the Miami Hurricanes.
Not just for Florida? Not just in Florida?
Yeah, it's usually one of the biggest in the country. Miami, I think, wins. Florida State, they came from behind by the skin of their teeth last week. They, in my opinion, got lucky because Louisville made a really poor decision late in the game when they had the ball. That should have run out pretty much almost the entire rest of the game. Miami's looked pretty good. I think Miami should win.
I'll go for Miami.
All right, Ohio Bobcats and Kent State Golden Flashes. I'm going to go with Ohio. I think, I just think they're better.
I'm going to go for Kent State.
Miami of Ohio Redhawks and Akron Zips. This should be kind of close. I'm going to, oh man. Let's see. I'm going to go with Miami of Ohio.
And it's going to be close?
I think so, yeah.
I'll go for Akron.
All right, South Alabama Jaguars and the Georgia Southern Eagles. Georgia Southern coming off a nice win against Arkansas State. They're for a real contender in the Sun Belt. I think Georgia Southern wins.
I'll go for Georgia Southern.
All right, San Diego State and Boise State. This may be the game of the year in the Mountain West. One of the better games of the day. San Diego State, they have a really good defense running team. They always give Boise State fits. In fact, the last 4 years, the winner of the Mountain West has either been San Diego State or Boise State. So, that being said, though, I think I'm going to give the edge to Boise State this year. Boise State normally has a really good team. Their offense is good. Their defense is good. I think they have an edge at quarterback, so I think Boise State wins.
I'll go for the blue field.
All right, Navy midshipmen taking on the Air Force Falcons. Military game. Both teams are triple option teams. This game could be like 2 hours. That being said, I'm going to give Navy the edge. So.
And I'll give Air Force.
All right, Bowling Green and Toledo. Bowling Green's been competitive, but I think Toledo wins.
I'll go for Bowling Green.
All right, Iowa Hawkeyes and Minnesota Golden Gophers. This should be an even game. This should be kind of a slugfest. Both teams play pretty decent defense, but neither offense is especially explosive. They can score some, but I'm gonna give the edge to Iowa.
I will go for Minnesota.
South Florida Bulls at UMass Minutemen. They have to go to UMass. South Florida better be careful. Talent-wise, USF should win. But UMass last weekend they put up 42 points. They lost 40-something points. They lost though because they allowed 58. So their defense isn't especially good, but their offense has a lot of potential and could make it interesting, but I think USF should win.
I'm going for USF as well.
Kansas State Wildcats at Baylor Bears. Kansas State, they came back and almost beat Texas last week. Baylor put up 33 against Oklahoma. I actually think Baylor wins.
Baylor?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go for Baylor.
Iowa State Cyclones and Oklahoma State Cowboys. Iowa State kept it close against TCU, but Oklahoma State I think is too good, so Oklahoma State.
I'll go for Iowa State.
Indiana Hoosiers taking Ohio State Buckeyes. Indiana might keep it close a little bit, but Ohio State should win.
I'm going for Ohio State as well.
Arizona State Sun Devils take on the Colorado Buffaloes. This should be a really, really good game. Both teams are good, both quarterbacks. I'm going to give the edge to Colorado.
Both are good and both are...
Yeah. It could go either way.
I'm gonna go for Arizona State.
All right, Louisiana Monroe and Ole Miss. Ole Miss should kill him. Ole Miss.
There's not a chance.
I mean, there's a chance, but.
Alright, I'll go for Ole Miss.
New Mexico Lobos and UNLV. This should be pretty even. I'm gonna give the edge to UNLV though.
And I'll go for New Mexico.
Old Dominion, Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic gave up a game last week. Old Dominion's been playing pretty well, but I think Florida Atlantic should win.
Going for Florida Atlantic.
Southern Methodist Mustangs and UCF Knights. UCF, their quarterback Mackenzie Milton has looked great. SMU has a potentially explosive offense. This could be a shootout. UCF really needs to take them seriously, but I think UCF wins in the end.
I'm going for UCF.
Kentucky Wildcats, they've been one of the surprises of the year. They take on Texas A&M. I keep picking against Kentucky and they keep winning. But I think they finally meet their match and A&M wins.
I'm going to go for Kentucky.
UAB Blazers and Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. This should be a pretty good game, but I'm going to go with Louisiana Tech to win.
Louisiana Tech?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll go for them too.
UConn and Memphis. Memphis coming off a bad loss, but I think they should be able to beat UConn.
Go for Memphis.
UTSA and Rice. This is kind of hard because they're both kind of weird. They're not great teams, but they're even with each other. So, but I'm gonna give the edge to Rice.
I'll go for UTSA.
All right, Louisiana Raging Cajuns and Texas State. I'm gonna give this to Louisiana.
And I will go for Texas State.
Vanderbilt and Georgia. This could be a potential upset. Georgia has not looked good the last couple weeks. I mean, their scores look better than the way they've actually looked playing, but I think Georgia wins.
Wait, so Georgia wins. Is that upset?
If Vanderbilt wins, it'll be an upset, and it could be, but I think Georgia wins.
Oh, I'm going for Vanderbilt then.
Auburn Tigers and Mississippi State Bulldogs. I'm going to give the edge to Auburn. Should be kind of even, but I think Auburn wins.
I'll go for Mississippi State.
Nebraska Cornhuskers and Wisconsin Badgers. Nebraska is 0-4, and I don't know. I don't think they get off on this one, so I think Wisconsin wins.
I'll go for Wisconsin.
North Texas Mean Green and UTEP Miners. UTEP is riding a 17-game losing streak, and I think it moves to 18. So I think North Texas wins.
I think I'll go with your friend and go for UTEP.
Yeah. Notre Dame Fighting Irish and Virginia Tech Hokies. Notre Dame actually looked okay last week, pretty good. I don't think they beat Stanford by a lot, but I think Stanford's kind of overrated. Virginia Tech, they bounced back after their ugly loss to Old Dominion. They beat Duke last week. This could be a good game. Virginia Tech potentially could upset Notre Dame. That being said, though, I guess I'll give the edge to Notre Dame. But I think this might come down to the end.
I'm gonna go to Virginia Tech.
Liberty, New Mexico State. Liberty had a nice win against New Mexico. I'm gonna go with Liberty. Their offense.
I'll go for Liberty.
Washington State Cougars and Oregon State Beavers. This potentially could be a shootout, but Washington State had a really good win against Utah last week, which is normally a really good defense. And Oregon State, their offenses look good, their defense hasn't really, so I'm going to give the edge. I'm going to go with Washington State.
And I will go for Washington State as well.
California Golden Bears and Arizona Wildcats. This should be even. Cal plays good defense. Arizona, they're kind of up and down. Their quarterback play, Khalil Tate's good, but I'm going to go with Cal to win.
I will go with Arizona.
All right, Utah Utes take on the Stanford Cardinal. This should be a pretty close game, a defensive kind of game. But I think as much as I said Stanford, I think is overrated. I do think they are at least good enough to beat Utah. But this will be a really close game.
I'll go for Utah.
Colorado State Rams and San Jose State Spartans. Rams they've underperformed. San Jose State, they gave Hawaii all they could handle in a 5 or 6 overtime game last night. But I'm going to go with Colorado State to win.
I will as well.
Fresno State Bulldogs and Nevada Wolfpack. This could be a good game. Nevada has a really good offense. Fresno State, they have one of the better teams in the Mountain West. So I'm going to go with Fresno State, but that'll be close.
I'll go for Nevada.
Wyoming Cowboys and Hawaii. Hawaii kind of struggled even though they won last week. Wyoming, Boise State beat them pretty soundly. Wyoming's defense could keep it close, but I'm going to go with Hawaii in the end. They got to travel all the way to Hawaii and deal with them. So
I'll go for Wyoming.
all right, so that goes for our picks for week 6.
And we have our tallies.
Oh yeah, and our tallies for last week. I got 50 right, and she got 29. She went with a lot of potential upsets.
As usual.
As
Pretty
usual.
good 50 out of, 59?
Yeah, I guess there were like 59 games. And I got
58, something like that.
So that wasn't bad. But so those are our picks and our tallies for this week. Remember to watch out for our other videos. Like I said, I'm going to do separate videos, shorter ones for you guys. Go to our Facebook fan group page, Fan of Football 813 on there. Go to our Twitter at FFootball813. Like, subscribe. Leave us comments. I'll answer things, but please subscribe. If you're here, give us views on our other videos as well. So we'll put it all up probably somewhere, if not in the links in the descriptions. Check us out next week. Peace.
See you later.